morning.
Since 2008.
Morning. There's not very many people. Got some good drone
We need to see Kathleen come on that screen or else we don't have a quorum.
Yes.
You seem slim tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, me too.
All right.
Look right now, you barely got a quorum.
Yeah, exactly. We skimmed by.
Jessica, how are the signs working out there?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4 o'clock.
Are they working?
Thank you. Out of practice. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4 o'clock, and we'd like to get this Recreation Committee meeting kicked off for its April edition. We have a number of circumstances where our committee members couldn't make it today, but we did eke out a quorum here. We have 5 members present, so we do have a quorum, and we could continue with our published agenda then. Normally we start off with an introduction of guests, and there are none today. So we'll proceed into 2 bullet points about current business, and they are simply that we're losing a couple of committee members due to term expiration and other reasons. And we have published a request for committee applications, and we may have received some. Is there any comment from on that for receipt of any new applications for committee members?
We have had 2 for recreation that I've sent for Deborah.
Okay. All right. So we have 2 openings right now, and we have 2 applications in so far. So it would be good to spread the word, maybe get a few more applications in, and give us a good pool of folks to vet. Okay, so with that, we can move into our regular amenity reports. I'll be reading a few of them for the folks who have contacted me with reports in their absence. But we also do have Kathleen on Zoom, who is prepared to read a few of those absent reports. And the first 2 are usually done by Deborah. Well, and actually she has 3 this time because she was covering for one of the absent committee members. And I know that she has sent them to Kathleen. So Kathleen, if you're ready, could you read out the reports for Metfield, Branchwood, and Loch Lomond?
Sure thing. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So for Metfield, recreation complex overall condition was Sunday morning. Quite a few young families out. The majority were on bikes or at the bike skills area. 1 team playing pickleball, playground in use. This was Deborah's first time to visit the park, and it was much larger than she expected. Areas for review, there is a sign asking to please pick up after your pet. However, there are no mutt mitts available in the immediate vicinity. Member interactions, none. And then additional observations, the nomenclature for facilities isn't consistent and is confusing if you don't know what you're looking for. I put Metfield Recreation Center in a Google Maps expecting to arrive at the fitness facility, and it took me to the park. I tried to Google Metfield Fitness Center as I initially found it described on the POA website, and nothing came back. I drove to the golf course to ask where the fitness center was located and found it is at the golf course but called Metfield Clubhouse. I went back to the POA website and found it in the second location referred to as the Clubhouse. The BV app appears to refer to it as the Clubhouse. So those are some notes on that. And then Metfield Clubhouse closes at 3 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. Branchwood closes at 5 on Saturday and 4 o'clock on Sunday. There are 2 shuffleboard courts. One is very deteriorated, could be on the radar for long-term repurpose of the space. Metfield Clubhouse overall condition. I was greeted the minute I opened the door to enter. Hayden was very polite, helpful, giving me all sorts of good information. Since I had never been to this building before, she was doing a fantastic job and represents the POA very well. There were only a few people there on exercise equipment, beautiful view of the golf course from the room used for stationary bikes and classes. Areas for review, none. Member interactions, none. And then she Googled Metfield hours of operation, and it shows it's closed on Sundays. And I think that's where she called out the hours of operation earlier. The POA website has the correct times, but when you Google it, it says it's closed. That is it for Metfield. Moving
Okay.
on to Branchwood. Overall condition, again, Sunday morning, not very active, several groups playing disc golf. Areas for review, a branch fell from a dead tree, taking several branches down from the tree next to it. Tree is near hole 3 and has a sign nailed to it. Mondo, someone built a small wooden bridge to cut across the creek while playing disc golf. However, it is supported with tree branches and doesn't look like it will hold much weight, as it is bent as I watch a gentleman cross over it. Member interactions, none. Additional observations. The walking path had at least 8 areas of washout from the recent storm, with rocks, leaves, mud, and other debris covering the walking path. The playground lost a good bit of mulch from the storm. And the ladies' restroom has a sign over the sink describing proper hand washing technique, telling you to use the hand towel to turn off the water. However, there is only a hand dryer, no hand towels. And that is it for Branchwood. And then Loch Lomond. Overall condition, Sunday about noon, park was very active, both dog parks occupied, quite a few walkers and dog walkers. A ball league arrived for practice. Areas of review, none. Member interactions, spoke to a lady walking her dog. She seemed surprised how active the park was. Additional observations, the old AstroTurf batter box home plate has been removed. The creek overran its bank in the storm and left mud, rock, debris, tree trunks as far as up onto the ball field. Washout from the creek extended other fence, and she has pictures for these as well. And that is it for those 3.
All right. Well, you could take a breath, right? And you're up next with the report
on to my next one?
Blowing Springs, but that one's all you.
And Kathleen,
All right.
sorry, before we get too far, I just want to address Metfield with the hours that are on Google. Unfortunately, we can't control that. So many people have to send in an edit to, so many different people have to send in that the hours have changed before Google will change it, and it's forever ongoing. And also, I'm sorry, Branchwood, you said, Deborah said hole 3 where the sign said Mondo, the tree has come down?
Yes.
Okay. And then also to address the bridge that she saw, so we actually are going to be building our own bridge there, and we're working on it right now. We've removed the bridge, and players keep putting things down to walk over there, and we keep picking it up. So we'll have a new bridge soon.
Nice.
Okay, good news.
Thanks, Jessica. All right, Blowing Springs. The park looked great. It always does, especially now in the spring. The lawn was manicured, no trash, pavilions were tidy. Areas for review. I noticed that a lot of people, when they use the restrooms back near the gear garden and that trail, they're propping their bikes up against the buildings or up against that building. And I was wondering if it might, we might consider adding a bike rack. So when people use the facilities, they have a place to put their bike instead of leaning it up against the building. Member interactions, none, but that should pick up once the gear garden opens here in the next couple weeks. So I'm excited for that. I spoke with Susan at the front desk, and she said that things had just been running smoothly and absolutely no issues on her end. So that is it for Blowing Springs.
Okay, great. Thanks for that report. I've been seeing advertisements on the gear garden opening, and it looks exciting. So I think we're just about a week away from that. And I think we'll see great crowds there, and it's always a fun thing. Thanks for your report.
Thank you.
All right, so we could move on over to a different person now. Brian, we're going to let you take care of your reports for Tyree Park and Granton.
Okay, Tyree, all of the consumables that we normally provide were there and available. The lawn is a little shaggy. I'm sure it has obviously not been mowed yet, but probably will be soon. And then of course, along with that is a lot of tree debris, et cetera, lying about that I'm sure will be cleaned up once they start the mowing process at Tyree. A few of the things, actually, older write-ups that I had written up last year, I went back and rechecked. One of them is the excessive wear on the pavilion roofing, where I suspected there was a leak last fall. I not only verified it visually, but also whipped out my handy moisture meter and determined that yes, the spot that is stained is in fact taking on water currently. So deterioration has begun. Biological growth has begun on the wood decking, the nice tongue and groove wood decking that's underneath the shingles. So it'd be great to see something happen with that roof in the near future. I called out some potential erosion issues where the main culvert goes under the main road bed. In my report, I actually have a 6-month time lapse between two photos where you can see the continuation of the erosion over the winter. And then I did mention last month that the protective covering for the electrical outlet in the pavilion is missing, and you can access live wiring at this point in time, so we may want to get something put on that ASAP. As far as anybody available, there were certainly a ton of boat trailers, but no individuals at Tyree. A lot of folks out fishing, absolutely. Moving on to Granton, I can say that nobody was driving around on the lawn. First time in 3 months that I haven't seen that. That was nice. Rick, help me out. The access road on the right as you pull into Granton, what is the purpose of that road that goes back into the creek bed?
Into the woods. So that creek channel floods out into the lake and causes debris.
Debris gets in the lake when it floods. And that channel is periodically cleaned out, and that provides.
And I assumed as much. Yeah, I thought it was probably for removing gravel, et cetera, and things like that. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but that culvert pipe has become dislodged.
Popped up
after the last because of the high water flow. Yeah. So that was one of the things that I had called out. Additionally, the synthetic boat dock, I don't know how else to put it, the floating plastic boat dock. All I really see that ever used for is these material barges that some of our contractors use on the lake, and there was a full sheet of OSB blocking the planking that you actually can enter the dock onto. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just the luck of the wind happened to pick up a piece and set it right there.
I don't know.
There's
when
also,
were you there? What day were you there?
I believe it was this last Friday. Okay. Thursday or Friday I was out there, yeah. There's also a sheet of OSB on one of the barges, so maybe it was just a lucky shot by the wind, I don't know.
Okay.
Other than that, Grant looked good. It was mowed, everything was picked up. Of course, all of the kayaks were secure. I always check those to make sure that they're locked down so that they don't walk off. But Grant looked good, and I still would like to get out there and do some trash cleanup before all these leaves come out. I'm gonna have to race. Otherwise, everything's good.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that, Brian. There is no report from Lake Avalon Park this month. The committee person is not available. Couldn't get the report done due to unforeseen circumstances. So we'll shift on over then to a report on Road and Hall Complex from Mr. Scott Frias.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, spring has sprung at the Kingsdale complex. The grass is green, trees are budding out. It's going to look really nice out there here in the next month or so. Tennis facility looks fantastic. So all of the maintenance that was done on that, Jake said they had pressure washed all of the benches and repainted some. So that looks really good out there. New scoreboards on the nets out there that members really liked. They had a lot of positive comments on that member interactions. They really enjoyed having those out there. One thing that Jake did mention was that he had a maintenance request in for some light bulb changes. Kind of getting critical as we get into the warmer days. People like to go out at night, kind of to escape the heat, so having the lights out there is kind of a big deal. Plus, he's got some tournaments coming up. Other than that, everything out there looked really good at the tennis complex. Didn't see anything at Kingsdale Pavilion except for a few leftover eggs from the Easter egg hunt. But everything was good there. The maintenance crew was actually underneath there taking a lunch break when I was there today, so they were having a good time out there in the nice weather. I did notice in the restroom, and Kathleen, I'm sorry, I forgot this on my report. The men's restroom, the toilet, looked like there was water puddling out from underneath the stool. I don't know if the seal broke and there's some water leak in there, or if just some water got in there and it was left over, but the women's restroom was fine. Mini golf course, everything looked really good out there. Carpet's staying down, so it's not peeling up. It's been down there now for about a year. All the holes were nice and clean. Everything looked really good, and no debris all over all that with all of the rain we've had recently, so it looked good. Playground looked really good. The one thing that I did notice, the basketball court, Jessica, the net on the rim is all ripped off. I don't know if we want to replace the net or not, but it was just hanging on by a few threads on the very back part of the rim. Yep. And I was telling Tom earlier, I like the new metal roof on Reardon Hall. It looked really good. They've got it partially done. They still got a little bit more to go, but should provide some good cover for that building now that it's all new and remodeled. And I like the color, and it looked really good out there. So, and then I also noticed the new signs out there telling possible vandals that, hey, we're watching you. Mm-hmm. You might want to think twice about what you're going to do. They were posted everywhere on the outbuildings, on the bathrooms, over by the mini golf course. When I went by the mini golf course, it looked like plenty of putters and balls out there, so it didn't look like anything was missing there, so it all looked really good.
All right, cool. Thank you, Scott. All right, your partner there sitting next to you, Ms. Mary Jones, she has reports from Lake Ann Park and London Park. Yeah. So, Mary, the floor is all yours.
All right, so it looks like that on Lake Ann, on the actual park side, everything looked great. It was really well maintained. I saw that you guys are replacing that bench, so it looks really good. I also saw you guys are in the process of building the new kayak rack. I like that. I like the positioning of it. It looks really nice out there. On the waterfall side of Lake Ann, everything looked good. It looked like it was taped off again over by where the sinkhole was. Is it because of the race that they were doing, or why is that taped off?
So one of the previous attempts at filling the sinkhole is now carrying water again.
Oh no.
And during the flood, there was water that came up out of the ground right there. So that area has to be looked at again and infilled.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I just noticed it and I was like, huh, interesting. And then London Park, everything looked really good as always. It looks like there's still that area on the restrooms where it just needs to be replaced or fixed right there. And then also the roadway, but I think that's something that you have in your plans to do in the future. And then member interactions was at Lake Ann Park. Expedition Ozarks was out there and they were doing their bit of their race. So there was like tons of canoes out there. The people out there were super fun and excited to be out there. So it was like really good vibes on Saturday being out there. And then also I ran into a gentleman that was fishing out there and he had caught 5 fish. So he was like super jazzed about it. So life is good. When you're an older gentleman, you're catching lots of fish, life is good. So,
all right.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, all set then. Thank you. Well, like Kathleen, I've got a few amenity reports to go through, a couple from me and one from Matt Zimmerman. He emailed that to us just a little while ago, so I'll pull that up and read it out. He does the gun ranges, and he says that he visited the gun range after the last meeting in March and tried to yesterday, but didn't get back in time. But anyway, the weather was a lot better when he was there last than the last visit. There were members using the rifle ranges and gun ranges. The areas were clean and in good order as usual. Walkways are in good shape. Targets were nicely stacked, those that were not in use. The gun range area was clean and in good order as well. Signage around the area is in good shape. The bathroom was clean and in good working order. In all, the area seems to remain well kept and clean. The surrounding fence seems to be in good shape and in good working order. The parking area is maintained and clean, so good bill of health. He notes he talked to one member, and it was just a complimentary discussion, it looks like. I spoke to one member on the rifle range, and he had mentioned that he uses the area frequently and is going to get his daughter into shooting, and will be bringing her here to learn how to shoot. That's awesome. And that is the report for the gun ranges from Matt. Now I'll move on to my reports, and I need to go to a different folder on my little phone here to get that up, so give me a second. And then I'll cover Tanyard Creek and the trails in Greenway. Here we go. This is for the trails in the Greenway. The trails are in great condition overall, and the volunteers are actively working. I could see this through posts that they're putting up on the social media page. A lot of raking going on and a lot of cleanup of rutting and smoothing things out from both the winter and the past storm, and just making it nice and flowing for the season ahead. There's no major areas of concern that I've seen or heard reports upon, as any area that's a little bit beyond the scope of the volunteers is reported directly to Trailblazers, so they could put their trained resources on the more complex trail fixes. Going over then to Tanyard Creek. Went over to Tanyard Creek on Saturday, and spring is springing there. It's all very vibrant, and the red buds are out, the dogwoods are starting to show up, and the people are showing up. Holy smokes, it was crowded there. The main parking lot was completely full, a lot of out-of-state license plates. There was parking in the golf driving range area, and there was just a lot of people in there having a good time. They're all over the place. The trails are looking good. I've noticed that the volunteers have started painting the bridges, the wooden rails and everything, got a fresh coat of paint. So the volunteer team out there is doing their spring work. And in conversations that I had with folks there, members, they're pretty much there with visitors and family, just showing them the waterfalls. So it's a great close resource to kind of show the natural beauty of the area. And everything there looks fine. There's nothing to be concerned about, nothing to report. So I'll close on that. That is the end of my reports. That is the end of all our amenity reports for this month. Any further discussion, any questions, any comments? All right, we're going to go on then to any new business. It's a blank sheet here. I shall open up the floor here if anybody needs to inject any thoughts or issues that we need to discuss or look at in the future.
I've got a question for you, Chris. You speak often of the volunteers there at Tanyard Creek. How do we approach non-POA employees as far as the insurance coverages and these types of things from them performing maintenance tasks on POA property?
Well, that's beyond my scope, obviously, but it looks like you've got an answer there potentially.
So we limit what they can do. We, for instance, don't let them operate chainsaws, and they carry their own insurance, from what I understand.
Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? We'll then move along to our staff reports. And Rick, you could just keep the microphone going there and let us know what's happening in your areas.
Yeah. So wrap up some old news. The Lake Avalon drawdown is complete. It came up in a hurry, and we're gonna be looking forward to getting approval for the next drawdown from the Lakes Committee in the next month or two.
Okay,
So the POA Rangers made 1,419 contacts during the month of March. 43 people were removed, 101 contacts on the water by boat, and 29 and a half hours on the water patrolling. As compared to last year, we had 1,186 contacts, 33 removed, and 122 by boat with 42 and 3/4 hours. That was March of 2022, just for comparison. Just as a reminder to folks, boat registrations are now past due. They were due April 1st with for 2023, you can start getting them in December, but the grace period runs till the end of March, and they're now past due. And just, we do get some revenue from those registrations, but they also provide a service to be able to get specifically kayaks, canoes, and that kind of thing back to the people who own them. During this last high water, we returned something like 10 kayaks.
Wow.
And 6 pontoon boats to people. So the pontoon boats are state registered, which makes it a little easier, but the kayaks are not. So that POA registration helps out there a lot. We end up collecting quite a few on our premises, and if nobody calls us, we don't know who they belong to. So, like mentioned earlier, the kayak rack at Lake Ann is underway and should be finished later this week. The new batters box artificial turf pad thing is now installed and is being used. Water is on at the dog park. Grounds maintenance has completed all of the hookups of the bathrooms for this spring. The bank stabilization project at Tanya Creek is now complete. The heated dock on Avalon will be open very soon. During the drawdown, we had to disconnect the electricity, and it presented kind of a hazard to have people inside that building.
Sure.
So that's looking to be open very soon. Let's see. We 5 of us completed our Learn to Burn certification, and so in the future, dam maintenance will be easier to address. Our summer rangers start on April 13th. Some of them do. We're returning 2 from last summer and hiring 3 new staff. They'll get their training and be ready to go by the first part of May. And our Lakes Ecology Department, we started the monitoring of the lakes for our Secchi desk readings, which is a monitoring for clarity, and we'll be taking E. coli samples around the beach very soon, and then we continually do our once a month samples for E. coli on all of the lakes. So just as a reminder that that's ongoing. Lakes and Parks will have an open house this Saturday at from 10 until 2 at the Loman Park, which is where we're putting in the aquaculture ponds. It'll be about that primarily, but not just that. We'll have rangers there to answer any questions people might have. The Fly Tires will have a booth there. They work real closely with us on a lot of projects, habitat improvement projects for fisheries and that kind of thing. And I have invited the Bella Vista Animal Shelter to be there as well, considering that they're involved with the dog park, which is right there too.
Okay.
So should be plenty to see for anyone who's interested. And our spring fish sampling will start tomorrow night, and so that provides a little bit of an interruption and disturbance for people who live on the lake, but it's 10-15 minutes and then we move on, so it's not that big a deal. And that's all I have, and John can talk about the gun range.
Thank you for that pass along, John. Why don't you hit us with your area of responsibility there?
So March was a flurry of activity and it went by so fast. I think I reported last month that we did have one youth tournament. If I did not, we did have one youth tournament and it was extremely well attended. So we're thankful for that. Both gun ranges combined, we were up about 25% attendance year over year. And the main driver in that was actually the trap and skeet range. Rifle pistol's been carrying for quite a while, but trap and skeet's all of a sudden coming back in a big way, thanks to our tournaments and that sort of thing. So we're gonna stay really busy for the month of April. We've already had one tournament that was so well attended, it almost caught us unaware. And we've got one towards the end of this month. May is gonna be extremely busy, and we're probably going to be a little short-staffed, I think, for the foreseeable future. But with that, I was afforded the opportunity to be able to work the rifle pistol range this past Friday, and got to touch base with a number of new members and people that were returning that hadn't been to the gun range in years. So it was really good to see a lot of these numbers are actually new people that are returning or new people to the area. So that was great, and that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, John. So we'll go over to the area of recreation and wellness. That means Jessica, the microphone is all yours.
Thank you. Some updates. So Reardon Hall, obviously, as Scott said, roofing. It's not going to be a red Pizza Hut. Look forever. The roofing's going on. I think it looks awesome. The black. Drywalling. That's currently, they're working to finish the roofing and the drywalling. April 18th, 3 p.m., as it's been highly advertised as the first member tour of the renovation. The marina opened up, and I actually got to go in there yesterday for the first time in a while, and it had quite a facelift. New painting, shelving, and the shelving's pretty extensive. It's like half a boat built. It's something to see. It was all done in-house, so it looks pretty good. So if anybody goes by there, you should stop in there, especially if you'd seen it before. A lot of new light fixtures and some cool stuff built around where they keep the minnows at. The end of March, recreation got hit pretty hard with wind damage. We lost a shade that is the biggest shade we have at the Metfield pool. So we're working to, unfortunately it's not fixable, so we're working to get a new one. We lost an anchor at the marina, but that's being repaired now. And we actually have some deck repairs going on at the Metfield pool. If anybody goes by there, they're grinding concrete right now. Something else that came. Kids Summer Activity Sign Up Day is this Saturday, April 22nd from 10 to noon, where it's mainly for swim lessons, but you can sign up for swim team, paddleboard camp, all that stuff. And the Easter egg hunt, pictures please. It went a success. It was crazy. Yeah, it was fun. It's my favorite thing that I get to do. So thought we'd share it. That's us all afterwards. We did, that's all of us. And here's just one age group going to town. I think that was 4 to 6, or maybe, no, that's 7 to 9. That looks like maybe 7 to 9.
My son's like, what is going on? I was like, Easter egg hunt. He's like, wow. So many people.
It was crazy.
Jessica, we had a blast. The kids loved it.
Did you guys? Good.
Yeah. It was so fun.
It's my favorite thing. And I have to specify, so in the age group 0 to 3, my son found the golden egg, and I had no idea where the golden eggs were. So everybody's like, oh yeah, sure, he found the golden egg. I was like, I have no idea where they're at. I can't even barely see. So, but no, so it was a great time. We had people donating water, and then Crazy Willie's came out and donated ice cream. And I thought a couple days before that, I thought, who is gonna want ice cream when it's that cold? That it turned out to be a perfect day. It's the best day of the last 5 years of Easter egg hunts that I've gotten to be a part of. The weather was great, and hopefully everybody had a blast. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, and thank you to Chris, who's always behind the scenes. And he came and set up speakers, because we can't even use the megaphone anymore because there's just too many people you can't hear. And so he came out early and set all that up for us, and they took some great pictures. And actually, it was kind of cute. At the beginning, the Bella Vista Police Department came, and they brought their canine Nico, and he was showing how a dog finds an egg. So that was kind of cute. So
Cool.
that's it from recreation.
Okay, I'll slide back over here. And as you can see, I'm just filling in for Deborah. And as such, I'm a little bit out of practice. I need to circle back and catch one thing. Now that we're done with the staff reports, I wanted to see if the board liaisons, Jan Hagan or Jan Sims, had any comments or would like to express any thoughts. Floor is open for them, you guys.
One thought or one observation I'll share. I just got back from 2.5 weeks on the West Coast, San Diego, and had an opportunity to go to lots of RV parks, things like that. Well, the tiny cabins are really growing throughout the country. So I went around to take a look at them, and I have to say, ours are by far, Jessica and Joan, outstanding because of the theme. The other ones that I've seen are kind of generic, you know, and they serve a purpose. But the ones that we have are very special. It just made me appreciate them more. So I just wanted to share that observation.
Yeah, they got a lot of character. That's cool.
Yeah,
I really appreciate. I go by there often as well, and I see the folks hanging around in the different themed cabins. It's cool. Okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Good job.
All right, well, thank you, guys. Sorry I skipped over you, but we recovered. And one last thing I'd like to comment on, I mentioned my excitement about the Gear Garden, and I said, I think it's about a week or so. Well, actually, it's 2 weeks. It opens up the 21st. So the opening weekend of the Gear Garden is 21 April. I'm looking forward to that. And I think that then corrects everything we've been through and covers everything, all our amenities and stuff. So I'll give the committee one last opportunity here to voice or express any issues or concerns. And it's looking like everyone is content. So we could close this meeting out. It was nice, quick, and efficient. We got our information out. And I thank you very much for your contributions again. And we shall close this meeting. And the next meeting will be May 8th, 4 o'clock, right here. So until then, thanks and stay well, everybody. Bye-bye.